Yeah, there was a small technical glitch in the end of the previous presentation, so I would continue from where I left now, right? So we were discussing about the architecture of the network of the nodes. The first one is MINA, right? So which we have already seen as multi-hop infrastructure network architecture. So depending upon the total coverage, right? So you arrange the different nodes in the different layers, and ultimate intention is to get connected to the base station. The duty of the base station is to transfer the collected data to the higher level network like internet or something like that. So accordingly, you have got the layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3, and the different nodes are connected to the different layers as per the network topology, and the information from any node could be connected to the access point either in 1 hop or 2 hops or 3 hops. As we can see, this is called as the layered architecture for the network nodes. Then the second one is called as the multiple cluster architecture, wherein the total number of nodes which are available in your WSN, they are split or they are put into the different clusters, and each cluster has got its own cluster head. I have already told you what exactly we mean by the cluster head and the cluster gateway, and every time whenever some data is read by a particular WSN, it goes to its corresponding cluster, and through the cluster gateway it gets connected to the internet. So these are the two types of architectures which we have for the networks of the nodes. And in the beginning we have already had the architecture as long as the WSN is concerned, that is for only the WSN node architecture. You should draw a clear line between the node architecture and the network of node architectures, because when we speak about WSN, there could be the possibilities of so many nodes which form a network. So once the network is formed, either you can have that network in the form of a layer or in the form of a cluster. Both kind of architectures are followed, and ultimately how exactly the communication is established between a network and the node, it depends upon what kind of protocols your system is following. Generally it is the wireless LAN, as I have already told you earlier, right? So your 802.11b protocol is used for the communication purpose. So now next we have one second. Yeah, there are certain challenges as well. So as we have seen the challenges for the RFID sensors, here also we have some of the challenges. Let us quickly look into these challenges. The first one is called as the hello flood attack, right? So an attacker node sends repeatedly hello messages, thus drains the energy of attacked node, right? So these are the intruders, or these are the unwanted things that are likely to happen in the communication scenario, especially when we use the internet. You all know what exactly are the virus attacks and all, right? So the malicious attacks. So being the technical people, we should be able to overcome these things. In order to overcome these things, first we should know what exactly the different possible types of these attacks. So this is one hello flood attack. Then you have called one more like Sybil attack, right? Sybil attack is an attack wherein a single node presents as different entities at a different time, right? So this is another kind of things, right? Virus attack. One node behaving differently or behaving as different entities at different time, creating all the confusions for the data processing units and all, right? And there is one more which is called as selective forwarding attack. It is an attack when the attacker node does not forward the attacked node messages on receiving, right? So from suppose if you have got something like this, it could be a mesh topology or tree topology, something like that. So when some information comes here from somewhere, so this information will not go to the next node at all, right? So this is called as selective forwarding attack, right? And you have got something called as sinkhole attack, right? So you have got something called as sinkhole attack. Attacked node behaves as an access point and receives the message without forwarding them, right? So this itself, suppose if it is an attacked node, this itself will start as an access point, right? And without forwarding the messages, it will keep the messages here, and you will no longer be able to get the messages forwarded to the remaining part of the system. So this is another one, and like that you have got some more, like I think we had one more here. Yeah, sinkhole attack. These are the 4 one, right? So hello flood attack, Sable attack, selective forwarding attack, and sinkhole attack. These are the different security challenges that we generally come across in your wireless sensor networks, right? Maybe using a proper algorithm, security algorithms, checking algorithms, right? With additional software strategies, right? So it is possible to overcome all these challenges, right? Then the characteristics, this is not that too difficult. The consumption of the power, limits for the nodes with batteries, right? So now what exactly is the meaning of this is the consumption of the power limits for the nodes with batteries, right? So whenever you have got the nodes with the batteries, what is the capacity of that battery, that decides, right? So how much is possible for us to have the information being exchanged between a node and the access point. Simple to use, cross layered design. We have already seen what exactly we mean by the cross layered design, multi hop architecture and all. Scalability, right? So you can devise this system for a large system, medium scale system, as well as the small system also, right? These are some of the characteristics of your wireless sensor networks. And as long as the applications are concerned, you can have a quick look at the different things which are shown there, right? So you can use in the smart buildings, right? You can use them in the transportation and logistics, right? Industrial applications, precision agriculture, and animal tracking, right? Again, as long as the animal tracking is concerned, we have to use ad hoc mobile network architecture, which I have already mentioned earlier, environment monitoring, urban terrain tracking, and civil structure monitoring for entertainment, security and surveillance, right? So this is one field where you get a lot of info. In fact, the very idea of this WSN, it started with that only, maybe way back in 1950, right? So for tracking the system, the enemy submarines, what are submarines, right? So sound wave based surveillance, right? So it was the basic reason from where the complete evolution of this wireless sensor network technology started, right? So later, as the different technological developments took place, so the things started developing, and as you can see now, so you have so much of applications from this wireless sensor network, right? So then you have the healthcare, health monitoring, medical diagnostics. Then again, coming to our domain, you have the smart grids and energy control system. You have got plenty of opportunities here nowadays, right? I think I have made a mention earlier also. As long as the energy control systems are concerned, right? You have got so much of surplus energy that is getting generated after the advent or after the technology developments in the the renewable energy sources. But only thing is that how best you manage them, that is the key challenge now, right? How would you manage such a large amount of energy whenever there is a deficit? There are certain areas where they still have the scarcity of the power. There are certain areas where there is excess energy, right? How do you manage with the existing infrastructure? How would you develop the infrastructure and how do you make the things smart here. That's what ultimately matters. So there, as long as the smart grid and energy control system is concerned, you have got plenty of opportunities to work in future, right? And you have the smart buildings also, right? So of course the smart buildings, they do not mean much for our Indian scenario, especially in the European countries or in the cold countries, right? You have the smart buildings also. It doesn't mean that we are not at all familiar with that. Lot of smart buildings are coming up even in our country also, right? So these are some of the applications as long as the wireless sensor network technology is concerned, right? So with that, we have come to the end of this particular topic. It is a very simple topic where we have started the discussion on the different sensors. Then we have discussed about the participatory sensors also, right? We have seen the participatory sensors. Then followed by that, we have seen what exactly are the RFID sensors and the wireless sensor network, right? So sensor technology, then the different types of capacitive sensors, the analog sensors, the temperature sensors, resistor sensors, right? So then we have also seen something about the examples there, right? The acceleration, humidity, distance, light, vibration, all those examples we have seen. The pressure sensors we have come across. Then we have seen what exactly are the participatory sensors, industrial IoT, some of the examples of industrial IoT also we have seen, right? We have seen what do we mean by the predictive and preventive maintenance. Then some of the sources like LED, solenoid, piezoelectric vibrators, motors, other things we have seen. And finally, the two types of the sensors, typically the radio frequency identification technology and the wireless sensor technology with their architecture we have seen, right? So now again a quick mention of where we have come. Initially we started with the different layers, right from the data link layer to the application layer. Again we have come to the sensing part in the physical layer now. Once the sensing is done, then the next thing is that we have to come to the hardware part of it. So in our next presentations, we will discuss about the different hardwares that are used in our IoT scenario, because that is where you really start with using the applications, right? So how exactly you will be able to develop the applications using the whatever the basic things that you have studied so far, that we will see, where we will be discussing about your Arduino boards or your Raspberry Pi or BeagleBone or the different other kind of the hardwares which are popularly used, right? So I will stop here, and in our next presentation we will start with one more topic, new topic. Thank you.